Hello and welcome back to Ludi in the Afternoon for NA players, but for everyone in EU, we have our Division 8W, which means W part of that is Worlds of Division 8W finals between Rage Squid and Shade. Our two commentators are Jordan and Hammy. You guys take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am Hammy, and as Rice said, I am joined here by Squidoku, aka Jordan. And yes, we have Division 8W Ludi Season 15 finals for you right now of Rage Squid versus Shade. Both these teams putting on very strong performances this season. And Jordan, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited to see this matchup. Yeah, both of these teams coming out here into the finals. Slightly different paths. Shade has put in a very strong showing. I believe you said only dropping 2 games in the group stage. Then they went 5-0 in both of the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. And then dropping 3 games to Kiwi Inc. in the semifinals. So that means they have dropped a total of 5 games all the way up through the season, whereas Rage Squid, they have made it here themselves. They still also went 5-0 in their group and won all of the playoff matches to get here, but they did drop several more games, a total of 17, I think, across the regular season and playoffs, including a 5-4 win in the quarterfinals.
Yes, very strong performances from both teams. If you're into statistics and data, you're probably going to want to look at Shade to win these matches, but I don't think either of these teams should be pushover. And realistically, sometimes these lower level divisions may have a bit of variance in how strong the teams are. But at the end of the day, both these teams are here in the finals, and both teams went 5-3 in the semis. So we should be looking at a pretty close match today, and I'm really excited to see these teams hopefully take us to a game 9, because I'm kind of greedy. I like to watch more Splatoon. I like to commentate more, and I'm excited to see what these teams can bring out for us. So
Yeah,
Jordan,
absolutely.
do you know much about either of these teams? Have you seen their players before? Maybe kind of have a little bit of insight, or is this going to be blind for both of us?
Personally, I have seen the names around, but I am not really familiar myself with either of the teams or with any of the players individually on them. So
Yeah,
I guess you could say I'm also going in blind here. How about you, Hammy?
Yeah, I personally don't know much about these teams. I do recognize Shade's logo, so that might be something. Though I do appreciate 2 of their members, Dixie Kong and Funky Kong. Never seen them in game, but I do like the theming there for their names. And one thing I do notice is that Shade only has 5 members, which is still more than a 4-person roster. But Ray Squid over here was 7 members, I believe. So I'm not sure if they have a couple of subs they include on the roster, or if that is an active roster. But that could be a very interesting way that both these teams differ, is how they decide to run their comps, because one team might have a lot more options in terms of weapon pool and in terms of play styles and how they want to play some of these maps that we have coming up soon.
Yeah, taking a quick look at the team's Sendu.Inc pages, not a lot of detail really on either of them. So they don't have any significant results to advertise. However, after this, I think they both will. Both at least making it to the finals of this division is going to be a something to be proud of, and especially for the team that manages to win it. That will be another. I think that will be a Sendu badge officially.
Yes, I do believe there's Sendo badges for winning Ludi divisions, and also a very important step for either of these teams if they do continue to be playing together after the Ludi season, as winning Division 8 is a good sign that you're probably going to be, you know, maybe like playing like a Div 17. People start thinking like, okay, you deserve to be bumped up a bit here, and Division 7 is a very important region we've kind of decided for the lower level teams, as that's a skill cap for a lot of tournaments, like Little Squid League from the Ink Up. And when you're at this level, you want to be the top dog in that category. You want to be the team that's going to win those tournaments. And so both these teams here trying to prove that they are like they're the next stars of the Div 7 cap of the lower level, and getting ready to move on to bigger and better things. So lot to prove here for both of these teams, and I hope they came ready to play.
Same here. I am very, very excited for this matchup.
Yeah. And now, speaking of this matchup, I guess we still have a bit of time while these teams are getting ready. So I think it would be nice to probably take a look at some of the maps that we're going to see and kind of familiarize ourselves, and maybe try to figure out what we're going to be running into. Completely black for me, but I do have our map list pulled up on the side here just in case. There it is. Thank you, Rice. Appreciate it. First up is Splat Zone's Umami. This is one that I love. I love the modes that have these tiny little like side zones, because I play Reflux. I'm a Reflux main. It's so easy to take a zone here. I love it, and my team usually performs pretty well on it, but it can be a struggle for some teams because it's really easy for low paint weapons to control a zone if they really need to, and that could cause some problems. for either side here, though we won't really know for sure because we haven't seen their comps yet.
Yeah, of course. And another major aspect of this is that a lockout on this can be really strong and can really set the tone of not just the game, but the entire set. If one team is able to get that early lockout and prevent the other team from breaking it, which is something that teams at this level might not really be experienced in doing, breaking a lockout like that. But if they have the coordination to do it, that will be really cool to see. However, if one team is able to get that quick win, then that could give them some confidence going into the rest of the set.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes with these lower level matches, it's all about the momentum. It's all about the mind games. It's about who has the stronger mentality, who was able to push through adversity, and who was able to just keep playing the game. And it's a long set. 9 games is a marathon for some people who may be less experienced in the comp scene. Not saying these teams are new or anything. I'm not quite sure, but sometimes you might start losing steam, and sometimes you might start getting demoralized after a loss or two. But a reverse sweep is possible, let alone starting to win after only 1 or 2 games down. So, getting this first win could be very important because some teams, may not have that strong enough mental to come down from deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, even just 1 game isn't a huge difference in a best of 9 set, but it'll still be more than nothing at least. And another thing to consider is that these teams aren't at like the top level where the meta will determine what wins, essentially, but these teams, they might have players who are, say, one tricks or very, very confident on a particular weapon, and able to use their knowledge of that weapon to really shine in this game and to do things that the other team isn't expecting. And so I would be really excited to see some unconventional team comps, unconventional weapon picks here. And I would be really excited to see what the players can do.
Definitely agree there. I do love to see those non-conventional picks. That's why I love commentating and watching these lower level matches a lot more than higher level, because it's so much more chaotic. It's so much more entertaining. It's so much more unique. You're never going to see the same thing twice. And every team likes to run the game differently. And as I do believe we're finally getting to our first match here, we're going to see which weapons both of these teams are bringing up into this first match of the Season 15 Ludi Div 8W Finals, as we see Rage Squid bringing in a ZF Charger and some custom dual. Both sides bringing in a ZF Charger, actually. And I'm looking at this Dually Squelcher on the side of Rage Squid. Interesting weapon I wouldn't expect to see here.
Yeah, interesting with the vanilla Dually Squelchers. That'll be something that might be a weapon that that player is particularly strong with, but Nightmare does get taken out pretty quickly as Shade are the first team to take the zone. They're pushing back Rage Squid here and showing a strong show of force. They have that cooler buff active and getting already again 3 down on the side, bringing out their specials to really take early control of this game.
And now is the important part you brought up earlier, is that Rage Squid has to be able to push out from this lockout. You see they're getting just picked off in their base, and they're starting to get staggered. So Shade holding a very aggressive position here. We see Funky Kong here with the Tri-Slosher getting pushed up, and every member like in the gate or further. No one on Shade is even in the middle of the map because they don't need to be. They're completely holding Rage Squid out. There's now 2 down on both sides. Dixie Kong goes down, so it is just Willia left alive on Shade. Has to go back and try to save these zones before getting a penalty. They are going to opt to actually go for this super jump, and they do get it. But Rage Squid haven't capped the zone yet. They need that very important penalty, and they unfortunately haven't gotten it yet, as Shade are able to start respawning and trying to take back mid control.
Yeah, Shade definitely doing a good job keeping this neutral, but they aren't actually able to hold the zone at this point because the members of Rage Squid did make it to mid, and they managed to take those zones one at a time. Shade didn't actually end up taking back the zone that Rage Squid had taken, but after only a little bit longer, they are back, regrouped in mid, and taking both of those zones and starting to take through that penalty time.
And now we're getting some deja vu here as Shade is walking into the spot of Rage Squid. Though Rage Squid pushing back a lot stronger this time and managing to get a pick down. It actually has the numbers here as the Charger, Kyoko gets set up, gets one, drops onto the zone to start painting it, and Rage Squid have adapted. They've learned to play more aggressive. They're just walking at Shade. They're being a bit more fearless, though. They do go down a couple in numbers, but they're not getting locked out, and that's the important first step. You need to learn to not get locked out, and now step 2 is controlling the middle of the map.
Yeah, losing that initial fight put them on the back foot for sure. But Rage Squid may have learned that Shade are playing a very fast and a very aggressive style of play, and they might need to match that in order to have a shot here. But there's specials coming out from both teams, but again, 3 down on the side of Rage Squid means that Shade have that penalty all gone, and they are pushing down past 15 remaining into the single digits here as they are walking out Rage Squid once again, and I think this might be a knockout right away. There it goes.
Yeah, Shade doing a very good job. They're being very aggressive. You see towards the end there, Funky Kong on the Tri-Slosher activating the Inkjet, getting 2 directs back to back, and then following up with assisting with their teammates for a 3rd kill, and just very aggressive position from their whole team. A lot of working together as well. A lot of them it wasn't one person pushing up, it was usually the whole squad coming together, and Rage Squid, as we saw, able to adjust fairly well towards the end of that game, but ultimately Shade was 1 step ahead, and they do manage to take this first game, but I wouldn't call this one-sided. I think Rage Squid still has a very good chance here, and they just need to take that adjustment they had and work a little more at it, and this game too can go either way.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be on Inkblot tower control, which is another one where if you're in the lead and you're able to get through those checkpoints, it can snowball pretty fast, but it's also one where an early fight tends to last a little bit longer, and it tends to take a little while before either team is able to secure enough of an advantage to take that tower past the first checkpoint. Yes,
for sure. And this is also with tower control, it's one of these modes that it's very easy to cheese it in, especially with some of these lower level teams. Bringing a booyah, bringing some strikes, bringing anything that can control a tower is going to be very vital, just as some insurance for if that snowball starts to happen, having that strong defense. So both teams here, we're going to see what they bring out, but I'm interested to see if we're going to see any major changes to these comps. I know both teams did bring a ZF Charger, so both teams do already have a strike on their side, and I'm curious to see what else they would like to bring here to try to prevent that snowball.
Yeah, definitely. And Inkblot Tower is such a popular map mode. It's one that these teams will have surely played many times before. And so this is not one where either team might have like a secret weapon that the other team will be completely not expecting. So as we load in, we see that Benny has switched over to that custom blaster. And there's also a custom blaster on the side of Shade. So both teams, again, looking at similar changes to their comps.
Yeah, though we do see Mishi here on the side of Shade bringing a custom E-Leader this time instead of the ZF Charger. So they're opting not for the strikes, but rather going for, well, they're getting the strikes from the T-Tech, but they're picking up how they like to bring it in. But now they would like the Kraken, they'd like the Splashdown. And yeah, both teams bringing some pretty strong tower weapons. And you see Rage Squid trying to play aggressively, though it does backfire as 2 go down. Now 2 down on Shade, so kind of a back and forth here as Dixie Kong's walking in, trying to get some picks, and there's just a bit of chaos here on this side of the map as neither team really taking a strong control, though the tower does move slightly in favor of Rage Squid.
Yeah, that jump from Nightmare able to not get camped and in fact take out one on landing. So Shade is not able to turn that pressure they got on that stack into an advantage. And in fact, Shade are only just now scoring their first points. They have that splashdown coming in, and they've got more specials, those strikes as well from Kyoko. But that is not going to be enough as 2 go down on both teams, and it is still a relatively neutral game here.
Yeah, these neutral games, that's kind of what you want, though, in a snowbally map, is you don't want the snowball to go in the enemy team's favor too quickly. So sometimes just getting solid control of the map before you want to get a good push is the way to play it, though. 2 members of Rage Squid do go down. Shade looking to take a good position here as their head. It does go down, so there's never really a confident map control here from either side as members keep going down left and right. Then we see Dixie and Funky Kong both walking in the left side of Rage Squid, though. We do see one go down. We see both of them go down. Nightmare able to get around there on those dualies, and now Rage Squid, all 4 up. They have sodas, and they're walking in this right side here to try to fight out some of the members of Shade and hopefully get some map control this time, as neither team has really shown any significant progress either way.
Yeah, this has been a very neutral game here. Neither team has even made it to the first checkpoint so far, but even as they try to put pressure on, Benny does get taken out by Michi on that charger, and now Dixie Hunt here using those strikes to stall the tower to prevent Rage Squid from getting through that checkpoint, calling their team in with the this way ping, getting a pick on the tower rider, but it looks like that Rage Squid did manage to get all of that checkpoint down, so if they're able to get another push going, they will very much have a good position here, not even needing to stop at that checkpoint. And as it seems, with Kyoko set up on that right stack, they are in a good position to defend it. However, going down one at a time here, all that's left is that crab from Nightmare, but they get easily rushed down by the blaster from it looks like Funky Kong.
Yeah, Funky Kong now also doing a splashdown, getting another pick here as they're walking in with this Kraken together, and Shade trying to spread out a little bit around the base of Rage Squid, sorry, and trying to get some map control, because as I said, this is a very snowbally map, so before you make a push, you want to make sure you're actually in position to start that snowball, because after this, they have to get this checkpoint, and there's not much after it to get the lead, though they still need a lead regardless. They still want to get this the snowball going. As 2 members of Shade do go down, they haven't gotten the checkpoint yet, though 3 members of Rage Squid going down, so Shade may be looking to take this checkpoint here as Michi's on the tower with the charger, giving jumps to their team, though 2 members of Rage Squid going by, the Kraken does come out. The Kraken does get the checkpoint, is now just running around to see if they get some extra picks, though. It doesn't look like they'll be getting any. They do get pushed off the tower, and Rage Squid still barely holding on to the lead, and not a very comfortable lead, but they still managed to prevent Shade from getting a lockout here and starting to get that snowball rolling.
Yeah. I do think the Kraken is a good choice here. It is something that can really hold the tower in crucial situations, especially when there is a GG special like a tri-strike coming out from the other team. But yeah, that being said, players on Rage Squid have been able to really do a good job defending that tower, even just by diving in and getting trades like I've seen Nightmare do a couple of times. That has been enough for Rage Squid to consistently hold onto the lead, but that being said, Shade do get that triple from Funky Kong here. Is that a solo quad?
I do believe that's a solo quad from Funky Kong, just casually walking in and getting the picks that they needed to start the snowballs. Now, with only 20 seconds left, Shade is walking through that second checkpoint to get 3 down again. Another back-to-back wipeout from Shade, and with only 10 seconds left, Rage Squid need something to kind of get in here to get to this tower and prevent this this from happening and start this overtime. As you see, Kyoko does get the tower. The Kraken's on the tower. They need to tame this Kraken. The Duke can pick down. The Kraken gets back on the tower, and that is another win for Shade in just a very, very convincing ending. Thankfully, Funky Kong walking and getting that solo quad and then setting their team up for a second wipeout right after it. Just that's the kind of snowball you expect to see from this map, and it took us 4 minutes and 40 seconds to find it.
Yeah, wow. That game just looked exhausting to play. Both teams just putting everything they could into getting the tower out of mid. It was stuck between those first 2 checkpoints for so much of that game, and just one single swing in either team's direction, as we can see from the very end of that game, was enough to fully determine how it ended. Yeah, here we see Funky Kong cleanly getting 2 there, going for 5. The third. Yeah,
that was 5 kills. They start with the member on the snipe. They get all 4 plus the first one back. So very, very impressive playing there from Funky Kong. And just, as you said, very tiring game that it's been for them. And it's almost more stressful when no snowballs happen because you're scared it's going to happen to you. I feel like if you get snowballed early, you still have the full game to get your lead back because now you know how many points you need to get. So I would not want to be in that game. That seems like a very shoddy spot to be at. But yeah, Shade taking that in the very last 30 seconds with 2 strong wipeouts. And now we're going to game 3 here. Rainmaker, Robo Ramen. Not a very common map mode. This is one where I've been on my team and on pickups where people ask, where are the checkpoints? Because they can't remember because it's been so long since they played this map. So now we kind of get to see the flip side from Tower Inkblot is seeing these teams going into a very uncommon map mode and seeing if they have a strategy ready, if they've practiced it, or if they're going to play strong on the fly and be able to outperform the other team.
Yeah. At this point in the season, I would be expecting both of these teams to prepare, but you really wonder what they think about that lower checkpoint because Robo Ramen does have 2 checkpoints. It has the one on that choke point that is directly along the path, but also on the flank route. If you drop down to that court area, there is a checkpoint there that could be used for a jump off mid and a fast break. And if both teams have a plan to either defend it or go for it, that would be interesting to see. We see Kyoko switching off of the charger and to a splatter shot here, and Funky Kong moving to that gold Nautilus, sticking with a splashdown weapon, but a different one.
Yes, we do see the double Zuka comp also coming from Rage Squid. Very interesting because I don't believe they've run the Zuka so far. I know they didn't run on our last game at the very least. And now 2 members of Shade going down. Rage Squid taking an immediate good footing in mid. They do pop the Rainmaker and now are starting to walk it. They are running it forward onto that check in the gate. They aren't able to get it though. It might have been safer to go for the drop on the side, but Rage Squid still holding map control here, and they're looking to get this first checkpoint really quickly before Shade has a position to get a good footing, but Shade just refuses to let go of this checkpoint. They're still just not letting Rage Squid get in, but that's about all they can do right now is Rage Squid still just confidently holding the middle of the map.
Yeah, also, I do believe that Benny was on the Neo Machine for Game 1 zones, but here we do see Rage Squid getting that checkpoint, Mishi not able to take it out with that Kraken. And another thing that we see is that Wilksa has changed from that edit to the zap. And especially with the zap and the gold Nautilus, that's 2 suction bombs coming out from Shade. So I think they want those for that Rainmaker shield popping power. And here we see them going 2 up, getting those picks, looking for one on Quirky, getting the pick on Quirky, and going for continuation, using those strikes to pop the Rainmaker themselves. They see the jumps coming in, but they aren't able to get him as Dixie Kong gets taken out or traded out. But with 2 down on Shade, they might not be able to push this unless Funky Kong is able to get that flank. But no, that's Benny underneath with using that machine to get the pick.
Almost calling upon the commentator's curse and letting Shade get that break though. Yes, as you say, they do manage to get picked off by Benny on that machine, and Rage Squid now pushing forward. Not sure if they've popped the Rainmaker yet, as it's still on the ground, and Rage Squid just trying to get pushed up into the base of Shade and try to start a snowball and a potential holdout. As now they do pick up the Rainmaker, though they do go 1 down with Benny, and Shade now with the Soda looking to try to get in a good position as Willia does fall down. The Rainmaker is running forward, just going for points. They do get to 49, which is a push that is pretty fair for this map, but it's still not fully comfortable if you're against a team like Shade, who have shown us that they are very good at getting in.
Yeah, and Shade are absolutely a late game threat here. They have shown that they can absolutely come alive in the last 30 seconds, and they're using multiple specials here. Nishi getting that Kraken, in fact, moving through their own tri-strikes to camouflage themselves a little, getting that crab, getting the pick on it, and despite one of the teammates going down, that does mean that they are able to continue to move forward here, and they're going to make another attempt to get that checkpoint.
Yeah, and we see here Shade getting down 2, and they do get the first checkpoint. Thankfully, Funky Kong getting all those picks they really needed, and now pushing up, helping pop, and getting the team in a good position as they painted forward. Now, Mishy holding the Rainmaker. They're looking to only get 9 more points to tie and 10 more points to take the lead. And Mishy trying to push along this left side, the whole team of Rage Squid kind of rotating with that, trying to prevent it. They do go down to the Zuka, though Rage Squid does get wiped out. I don't think they're going to have time to respawn fast enough to stop the lead here. As Willia takes it, does get the lead, then walks through the splashdown, just trying to go for as many points as possible, getting into 14. That's a much scarier lead. That's the kind of one lead to be taking here. With just over a minute left in the game, Rage Squid are going to have a tall order in front of them if they want to take the lead here.
Yeah, if anyone on Rage Squid is running last-ditch effort, then it will be fully active right now. Those Zukas, they were able to at least intimidate Shade a little bit and prevent them from taking the lead on their first go at it, but then getting that wipe again on Rage Squid allowed them to really push forward and take that. And so now Rage Squid are going to have to set up a push here, but with 40 seconds and counting left, that isn't going to give them a lot of time, especially as Funky Kong is getting all of these clean picks here, surviving and not letting anyone on Rage Squid get close by. They also have that splashdown ready to go now and are probably going to be looking to use it when they have a good opportunity, but still using the main weapon of the Nautilus to get all of those picks, and they are still just surviving out here. And there's the splashdown coming out, and it looks like this is going to be it as the Kraken gets that shot, gets Kyoko, and goes for the 2 jumps, and that means that's a 3-0 for Shade.
Yes, Shade now up 3-0. They do take that game, and yeah, a very unfortunate position there where they have those specials at the end of the game to just be able to run through that Kraken, getting that very important pick where the last 2 members of Rage Squid are both super jumping in and not even really enough time to physically grab the Rainmaker, even if you weren't being pressured by multiple members of the opposing team, just staring you down with no time, no paint, and no dream left alive. As Shade, you take that in a very confident fashion, similar to how we've seen before. They like to get that really good late game push. They know when to turn on their brains. They know how to coordinate it. And Rage Squid playing very strong. They did get the first checkpoint. They did get a first lead, but not able to stop Shade from doing what they've been showing us they do best with those late pushes. And yeah, just not able to get their number just quite yet. But that being said, it's 3-0 in a best of 9, so there's still a lot of time for Rage Squid to start getting some wins as we do go to our next match, which will be Clam Blitz Museum. Personal map that I love, and we're going to have to see if Rage Squid loves it too.
Yeah, and also, speaking of being not able, Funky Kong on the Nautilus being very not able, getting a lot of picks there in that last game again, because it was Funky Kong on the Blaster in game 2 getting that 5 splat streak to really allow Shade to take that push at the end. And also we saw Funky getting pick after pick towards the end of the game in game 3, and just completely untouchable, completely uncontested. And I think that if Rage Squid want to do this, they are going to have to keep eyes on Funky and be able to just reduce how much pressure Funky Kong is able to put on them and how much influence they're able to have on the field of play.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid strategy in Splatoon. Is me personally, I use it a lot, is identify who the biggest threat is and just target them. It's sometimes it's kind of a scumbaggy thing to do sometimes. Sometimes you gotta feel bad for it, and sometimes the enemy team will hate you for it, but you need to find a method to win. And if the enemy team has a very clear star player, sometimes you gotta do what you can to try to take them out and see if you're able to, generate some new opportunities when your team doesn't have to worry about, a Blaster or Nautilus or whatever weapon Funky Kong decides to bring, just running you down. And in a mode like Clam Blitz, it can be very, very fast if the Clam economy works in your favor, if the Clam spawns work in your favor, if you're locking your pods efficiently, and you got to find a way in there and a way to shut down the enemy team. So Shade showing us that they're able to do it time and time again. So Rage Squid now, it's their time to shine, and they're kind of running in a breathing room here when they're already 3 games down in the best of 9.
Yeah, definitely. And yet another thing is that Funky was also on the Tri-Slosher in the first game, which means that they've brought a different weapon to each of these 3 games. And sometimes, if you are up against a very strong Slayer and a very strong fighter, they might be using the same weapon, and you'll want to counterpick that weapon, but they have no idea what Funky Kong's going to bring next because they've been playing a different weapon each time.
Yeah, and we see again Funky Kong now bringing out the Splattershot Pro Forge. They're keeping the side of Rage Squid on their toes and not letting them adapt because they can't. There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. They're just bringing out weapons they're strong with and not letting Rage Squid, be able to do anything about it. As the Funky Kong does already go down, though Dixie Kong in their place in the base of Rage Squid does go down. Rage Squid now 4 up, are starting to take the middle of the map. They want to start trying to claim the area, but unfortunately Shade getting back as fast as possible and managing to take down 2. So Shade once again in control of the map. They do get a wipeout. Funky Kong in the enemy side, already under the basket, painting up, giving some space for teammates to pass clams, and Shade looking to try to break the basket here. Only 40 seconds in, though they do go down 1. All the clams left on the floor, and they go 3 down. Willie is the last one running away, and this has just been back and forth already. Rage Squid now in map control.
Yeah. You gotta wonder. Maybe it feels like on the side of Rage Squid that Funky Kong there is just using a random weapon selector and just rolling with whatever they choose. That's how it might feel. But that being said, it is a relatively neutral status right now. Both teams holding onto 1 power clam, and Funky Kong looking for a good position here, backing up as that Zuka comes out, but they have the Booyah Bomb ready, and as the edit comes back alive, Dixie Kong able to get a pick here and pick up that drop power clam, sending it back over to their team. And Shade here, it is again pretty neutral. Both teams having about 2 clams worth of material here, and both teams getting those picks in neutral.
Yes, and again, see Funky Kong yet again getting other picks, controlling mid here, treating this set like it's their own playground, and then they do go down to Leon Kuhn from Rage Squid, who did just recently switch into this game and is bringing that E-leader out. So both teams having that E-leader to back them up, that long-range charger that can deal a lot of damage very quickly, and both teams just kind of fighting for mid control. Again, neither team getting a push. Shade did get into the enemy base, but never got any clams in, though. Getting 3 down. We see both of the Kong members coming in. They do throw the ball, and they miss. And Willie goes down. 2 go down, actually. Shade unable to generate a push as much as they've been getting in their base. They can't get that clam in the basket. And Rage Squid just fighting tooth and nail to not let their defense be broken and trying to keep themselves in this match. We're already over halfway, and neither team has shown any signs of scoring.
Yeah, you wonder at what point the strategy might change, but this does happen sometimes, and you just need to be patient. You just need to trust that you'll have that opportunity. But now 3 members of Shade going down. Again, Dixie Kong having to toss back that clam to keep it alive as they go down to Rage Squid coming in. But both teams able to really use the mid-range of some of their weapons, like that Forge Pro and like that Neo Machine, to defend fairly well as those long-range chargers. Both teams here with an E-leader 4K. Dixie Kong here getting stuck, having to jump out, able to get that jump out, but once again, both teams doing a great job defensively and not really able to push inward.
Yeah, though Shade now, they do have the power clam. They get 3 down. It's just Leon Kuhn left inside the Rage Squid. And with that leader, they can pick off people from afar, but they're also not as mobile as they would like to be, as though Shade gets 1, gets 2 power clams in. They start scoring more. Dixie holding 7 several clams, throwing them in. Willie is the last member alive. They do make a ball, but they're not in a position to get that in, though. A push to 42. Yet again, we are seeing Shade, with about a minute left in the game, getting a very strong push and giving Rage Squid not a lot of time to generate a push of their own and try to beat the score that Shade put on the board.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the score ends the game here at 42 remaining to 100 remaining, a score of 58-0. Because both teams have been able to spend so much of the game just defending fairly well. But here with Dixie Kong pushed up and Leon Q not able to get that pick, the Tri-Strikes are coming out. They might be able to camouflage a push, but they do get taken out still. But with those other picks coming out, they might be able to score that power claim, and that does go into the basket. Leon Kuhn getting a pick here, but with the team still spawning in, Shade do have that presence here on the side of Rage Squid around that basket.
Yeah, Rage Squid able to push them out before they get any actual points to the board. They couldn't get through the penalty, though. With 6 seconds left, Rage Squid have to get a really strong overtime push here. They're going to need some clams to spawn in their favor. They do have 2 power clams, which will get them down to 60, but they're still going to need another 19 points after that, which is still a lot of clams unless they can get a 3rd power clam. And Shade not even giving them time to get in their base. Right now, Shade need to stall as long as possible because the overtime is running fairly thin here as Rage Squid unable to get out. They do manage to get off their plat, but Shade just bought enough time, and that's going to be game 4 going to Shade. So putting us to set point, and I guess div 8W point for Shade, but Rage Squid, they need to bring this reverse sweep in if they want to win, and it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, it is gonna be a long one. There really have not been, I think, any knockouts since the first game. Both of these going the full distance and being so intense, such grueling affairs here with these teams fighting it out in mid so much. This has been a very tough and constant pressure kind of set here. But with the next one being zones, it is a lot more common for zones to be a knockout, especially because Shade has just shown the ability to have the upper hand a little bit in those engagements in mid, especially in that last game. They were towards the end of the game, they were when the game shifted out of neutral, it was generally in Shade's favor. So I would be completely unsurprised if they were able to seal the deal here and take this set in a sweep.
Indeed, yes. In these 4 games so far we've seen Shade has always been doing the same thing. We've got the 2 members of the DK crew, Dixie and Funky, and they are like Funky has been playing very hyper aggressive and running in. Dixie has always been backing them up, fighting with them, painting their feet, and doing what they can. And then the other members of Shade, Willia and Mishi, just playing long range supportive weapons to support Dixie Kong and Funky Kong and what they've been doing and creating a cohesive unit. Rage Squid have not been playing bad whatsoever. It's just that they don't have the same dynamic that Shade's been bringing. So Rage Squid need to kind of find a solution to this dynamic, because there are ways to break into what Shade's bringing out, but Rage Squid need to on the fly make those realizations. Though we do see actually 2 members of Shade are currently missing from this match that's loading in here. We're missing Dixie and Willia, so we're probably going to be resetting this match here shortly. But yep, there's the communication error.
Okay.
But yeah. But yeah, Rage Squid need to find solutions here, because Shade hasn't switched anything. The only thing Shade has been switching is what weapon Funky Kong's been playing every match. Everything else has been consistent and it's been working. So
yeah, I do believe there was one game where they had a Zap for their coolers instead of the edit, but otherwise, and also which leader kit Mishi is running, but other than that, or there was also, I think, the ZNF charger in the first game. Other than that, though, it has been very consistent from Shade, and it's been working. So they have really no reason to change their strategy, because they've been able to make it all the way to 4-0 with that strategy that they've been running.
Yeah, they've definitely been switching up their weapons to fairly similar ones, but yeah, the overall strategy has been the same. As you have Funky Kong as a Slayer, Dixie Kong as your backup front line, and you have Willia and Mishi being those supportive weapons that can put out the paint, they can put out sodas, they can give utilities for their frontliners to do what they do best. And sometimes that's what it's all about. You have a player who does something good, and you make sure to support that in any way you can. That's personally the way that I play the game. Again, as a reflex main, I put out high paint, I give missiles, I give information, I give callouts, I give everything to my teammates that I can, so that they can just do what they do best and perform. And again, Rage Squid, they're all playing solid, they're all playing relatively together, but there's no defining feature to their play style, and there's no overall strategy or gimmick they have that is going to outdo what Shade is bringing. So that's the time for adjustments. That's the time for brainstorming and trying to think like, okay, how do we get over this? All while trying to not get bogged down, because when you're down 4-0 in a best of 9, that's a very huge mental toll that it can take on your players.
Yeah. I will say though that there have been some consistencies in Rage Squid's what they're bringing, at least in terms of weapons. They've had Nightmare on some kind of dually. They've had Corky on the Zap. They've had mostly Benny on Neo Machine, except for that switch to Custom Blaster. But other than that, it hasn't really looked like they have had a consistent game plan, or even really the understanding of what Shade are doing and how to work around it. And I don't know if they will be able to lock in and figure it out, especially on zones, on a mode that can end relatively quickly compared to the others.
Yes, this is the only mode we have seen a KO in today, and it was in the favor of Shade, though. That being said, Rage Squid, this isn't like a complete like shutout. Like,
oh yeah,
Rage Squid have been showing us good things, and they've had the lead and had the first push in a lot of games, but Shade just something unlocks in the last half of the match where they always get that really strong push. So Rage Squid need to almost adjust to this, and they need to get a slight lead in the beginning and then just create a fortress for their last half defense and not let Shade get in. They need to react to how Funky Kong's playing. If they can't kill Funky Kong, maybe they need to focus on Dixie and not give Funky Kong the support that they've been receiving, and try to make it ends up being a 4v1 against Funky Kong and just taking that fight where they know they can win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this actually could be a chance if Rage Squid are able to take an early lead like they have in a couple of those games before. If they're able to hold on just long enough to get the knockout, then they could potentially prevent Shade from taking this game 5. However, I still do think it will be a tough ask for them to do that.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a very tough spot for Rage Squid. Even when you're in the high level, if you're down this many games, it does start to affect your mental. It does start to affect how you're going to play and think about the game, because even if you do secure the win here, you're still 3 games down, and ultimately Shade, they know that they can win, so they're going to keep playing as confidently as they need to. So I think Rage Squid need to just go all out here. There's nothing left to lose. There's nothing left to show for, except for just getting more wins here and trying to bring themselves back, because this is the end of Ludi for both these teams, because this is the finals. And Rage Squid, either way, even if they lose here, second place is still a very strong showing, but they still want to try to prove that they deserve to be here and prove that they're not going to get swept in the finals. And that sometimes even just not getting swept is a pretty big step, and something that might be important for some of these players.
Yeah, for sure. And either way, they still did even if they lose here, they still did better than 46 other teams in their division, which is absolutely something to be proud of. But at this point, I think Rage Squid need to just take it one game at a time. That's really the way to deal with being in a situation like this. Don't think about what's behind you. Just look at the game you're playing now, take it one at a time, and then just approach it without letting letting the previous results, letting the circumstance cloud your judgment. Essentially, don't you can if you just don't let it weigh on you, play the game that you know how to play. And as it looks like they have a sub here on the side of Shade. They're bringing in Akuma instead of Willia.
Yeah. And we see the ZF coming up from Leon Kun actually on the side of Rage Quit, and we see Funky Kong going back to the Tri-Slasher. Okay, I was gonna ask earlier if we had any fun picks with them playing, but they are bringing back a familiar weapon. Though, yeah, Akuma bringing in a splatter shot here, so a different strategy here from Shade with their comp, because they no longer have that second supportive weapon alongside Mishi. Like now with Willia gone, they have more frontline. Though splatter shot can be a fairly supportive frontline if played correctly. It's definitely going to be a change-up for sure. As we see Rage Squid already getting the first points on the board, the dudes start getting pushed back as Funky Kong goes up in the air with the Inkjet. Doesn't manage to get any picks, but still enough pressure to potentially get Shade the zone here. As no, they haven't capped it yet. Actually, no, there's the cap for Shade, and they now do have some map control.
Yeah. Also, without that tacticooler, Shade don't have a tacticooler, which is going to be an interesting difference. Of course, you don't need a cooler to win, especially as we can see they have taken the lead here. But it's going to be a little bit different here with Shade not having that tacticooler on their team. But they still do have a lot of the pressure that they're able to put, and being able to win these fights, especially with that Inkjet, a very effective Inkjet. Shade have control, and they have not only control of the zone, but of just all of mid. But there we see Benny on that new pick of the 52 gal that we haven't seen them on before, using that whale to make some space and get in a little bit, and that allows Rage Squid to at least neutralize the zone, and they manage to capture it.
Yes, now Rage Squid able to take a bit of a footing back here, though. Again, Shade, playing very confident, playing how they know how to play, and you say there's no soda, but when you're up 4 games in the series, you can play confidently enough that you don't really need that soda. You can just say, no, we're going to play like we have it anyway. We're going to walk forward, be aggressive. Funky Kong yet again getting another pick on that Jet. Akuma walking in, not able to secure the pick on Benny, as now Benny trying to set up, trying to get rid of Funky Kong, though is unable to do so. That Tri-Slosher, very strong weapon on Mako Mard, and giving you a lot of angles to do a lot of damage. So Rage Squid able to cap the zone again and keep themselves in this, but they still need a more confident in footing here, as Shade keep just walking in with the Kraken, with the Inkjet, and with these 3 frontline weapons they now have. And even Mishi, the Charger player, walking up with that leader through that Kraken and trying to spawn kill people. Just Shade is playing like they rule this map.
Yeah, they sure are. And one thing to consider also is that when we saw Funky Kong on Tri-Slosher before, that was also on Zone. So it could be that they do have a specific pick for each mode, regardless of map, and that's what we've been seeing from them. Here's that Crab coming out from Nightmare, though, getting a pick, looking for another, dodging those Zuka shots, but still going down to Funky Kong on that stack. As Shade get the wipeout here, there's only less than 30 ticks left before Shade take this set.
Yeah, counting down very quickly. Rage Squid need to find something to do, get 2 picks, though one of the members do go down. The strikes coming out to the zone with 8 ticks left. They're very close. They do manage to cap the zone. Once again, Rage Squid keeping themselves in this match, in this set, but they still need to control this map. They need to start staggering Shade, because you can see here, all of them are in their base, getting set up and ready to work together now. You see Akuma coming up by themselves, dragging 2 members of Rage Squid into their base. Dixie Kong here on the back burner, but that wall from Benny able to block them out, and now Rage Squid are halfway through towards the knockout here, getting a much better position. This is the one they've been looking for all game, and we hear a cracking coming out from the side of Shade, going through, and Benny causing a distraction, but Shade's just walking to the zone now.
Yeah. Rage Squid are absolutely playing for their lives here. This is their last chance to make it to another game here with Shade up in the set 4-0. But Shade having taken back the zone, there is now less than a minute left here, and so Rage Squid are going to have to put something together fast if they want to take the zone back yet again, as the points are just ticking down for Shade here.
Not only are the points ticking down, the time is running out with 45 seconds left in this Game 5. Rage Squid need to do something to not get swept here in the Div 8W finals. As you see, Benny getting pushed back by 2. Funky Kong fighting a 1v2, losing it with 3 ticks left. Rage Squid need to get to the zone, and they don't manage to get to the zone. Shade knocking out zones for the second time in a row and winning your Div 8W finals for Season 15 of Ludi in a 5-0 sweep against Rage Squid. What a game.
Congratulations to Shade. You are Division 8W champions in Season 15, dropping only, I think, 5 games over the course of all 9 sets that they played in the season. A very strong showing all summer long here. Here we see that replay. Funky Kong up on that stack in a very strong position for that tri-slosher. Shade just holding on to that zone in the final minute and preventing Rage Squid from making one last push.
Yeah, Shade just dominant performance throughout the entire set. Again, winning a 5-0 in the finals is no easy feat, and especially a team that went 5-0 in groups and a team that didn't lose that many matches. They didn't lose as much as other teams may have lost throughout the bracket here. So Shade, very strong performance. A team potentially to look forward to. Again, they have a Twitter account and other things. I do believe they are an actual proper team. So hopefully we'll be able to see them in future tournaments like LSL, FTIU, maybe even stuff like Low Inc. But yeah, again, congratulations to Shade for winning Div 8W Ludi Season 15. Rage Squid coming in second place. Still great performance from them. They've done really well this season. I'm sure they're probably fairly happy with their performance overall.
Yeah, they've got to be. They've got to be proud of what they've done. I don't know if they're popping off right now in voice call, if they're celebrating, if they've got a team server that they're at everyone and they're dropping the at everyone. I don't know. I would if it were me. They absolutely earned this.
So with that being said, I believe that is everything for us right now, though we do have some more Splatoon action for you today. We have the Div DA finals coming up for you later at 8 p.m. ET tonight, which I'm doing some mental math because I'm not in the right time zone, is in 4 hours from now. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it'll be against Last Squid Standing versus Hoot Hoot Recruits. That one's going to be very exciting as well. I know for sure I'm definitely going to be watching it. I hope you'll come along as well. That being said, Jordan, where can the lovely people in chat find you?
Yeah, you can find me online. I am on splatsville.social at Squidoku. I am also on x.com at Squidoku_. You can also find me here on Twitch. I don't really stream myself, but I'll be in the chat for various streams at Jordan Pie, and that is also my Discord handle. How about you, Hammy? Where can the folks find you?
You can find me basically everywhere at Hammy in the Wall, on Discord at HITW because it was too long. I don't stream much anymore, but you will find me in chats on Twitch, though I am planning on getting back into streaming soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, Hammy in the Wall everywhere. You can find me most places. Thank you all for watching. Rice, thank you for doing the production and the spec cam. We appreciate it. I recommend everyone in chat go listen to the DK rap. Thanks for Funky Kong and Dixie Kong winning. I know they're not in the DK rap, but I don't care. It's a good song. Go listen to it. Thank you all for watching. And remember, you've been watching Ludi tonight on SplatoonTourney.